Hey guys, Positive here and welcome back to WoT Blitz University. And today we're going to continue on with the map guides and we're going to be doing Canyon today. So without further ado, let's get started. So unlike maps that we've done in the past like Himmelsdorf and Mines, Canyon is a relatively simple map. And that's because there's only really like 4 areas that I think are really relevant to winning on this map. You've got the B cap that everyone likes to go to, you've got the C area here, and then you've got the 2 spawns, which are of secondary importance. And then you're wondering why those are the only areas I've highlighted. Well, that's because everything else is dead. Like, just to drive home that effect, let's draw a bunch of skull and crossbones. It's all dead. If you want to drive anywhere that's not these 4 areas, expect to die because they're just terribly useless areas. The first position I'm going to talk about is not the middle. It's actually going to be the C corner because I think the C corner is probably one of the most important positions to control on this map. And the reason why C is so important is because C gives your team indirect control over the middle. Because if you control this kind of area, these rocky outcropping by C, you'll be able to control anyone that peeks on B, as you'll be able to see in the top right of your screen. So basically from the C position, it allows you to shoot at basically anything that peeks at B and just put them down. And also another reason why C is such a great position is because C also gives you these hold down areas that you can work with, and it's pretty much the only real cover on this map that's not at kind of this B middle area. However, the real reason why the C corner is important, it's not just the fact that you've taken this rocky outcropping position. Like, this is only really just to put them down initially. The real reason why C is important is because of the things you can do afterwards, especially if you're playing from the north spawn. Because if you're playing from the north spawn, taking C corner is a super critical position. Because for one, if you take the C corner, oh, that's the wrong color. But if you take the C corner, then what you can do is you can drive to this house, and from this house position, you pretty much just annihilate any south spawn tanks that decided to go B. Because basically from this house, they'll just shoot them in the side. They have absolutely no cover. They're stuck in the low ground, and they'll pretty much just bleed half, if not all, of their hit points to you, pretty much for free. So that's why it's super critical that you win that C corner. And then in addition to that, after you've taken that house, what you can do is you can play around these rails. Now a lot of south spawn TDs really like to camp spawn. It happens all the time. They like to camp like here, or some nonsense or whatever, because they all just like to sit there in the back of the spawn and try and get some nonsense shot at some hull down tank across the way. But it doesn't really matter, because if you go to like these rails, you can a lot of times just play hull down and you can just dig them out like so. And this will usually be enough to kind of force them out into the open where your teammates can shoot them. Especially if you have if you've got a friendly tank in the middle, there's almost always a friendly tank in the middle too. And pretty much these TDs also just have nowhere to go. They're also going to get shot, they're going to get killed, just like their buddies who went B cap. And then if you're playing from the south spawn, well, the reason why you need to win C corner, it's not as good of a position as if it were from the north corner. But if you go C corner from the south spawn, it's still important, because what it ensures is that this entire area of the map is basically just free of enemy forces. And once you know that's true, it makes your team a lot more secure in this B cap. Okay, now the other critical position when it comes to Canyon is the middle. The thing about the middle is super popular with pretty much all sorts of players all the time now, and that's pretty much the initial play for a lot of players. However, I think that you guys shouldn't necessarily go B for the initial play, because if you go B for your initial play, it's kind of pointless actually. Because there's probably going to be someone across from you who's just going to pin you down anyway, so you can't really get that good of spots, you can't really peek out to shoot. And also, if you lose a corner, like if you lose A or you lose C, you're just going to find yourself getting shot in the side, as I showed earlier, which is why I really think you should make your initial play B. However, B, after you know that you've got a corner secure, B can be a fantastic position, especially if you have C. Like in the mid game, if your team has C locked down, you can pretty much just farm whatever is left of the enemy team all day long, because you have all these nice angles that if the enemy has gone A, they're pretty much going to bleed all day long to you. And this is usually why people like to go B, but this is meaningless if you lose C, because if you lose C, you're just going to get shot in the back and it doesn't really matter. Now, a lot of times when you're playing from the south spawn, especially if you're in like a lightly armored tank and you take the C corner and then you make your standard rotation towards B, a lot of times you'll still run into like whoever went north spawn B area. And if you can't really out-brawl this guy, the question arises, how do you dig him out? Because until you dig this guy out, he will be a continued nuisance for your team. Because from B, A, he's going to pin you down if you try to peek at B. And then also he's going to like try and harass your guys who are trying to defend your spawn. And so this is where the at least the north spawn area comes in. Now, one of the easiest things to do is pretty much just like flank through the spawn. It's a pretty standard rotation, and once you've done that, then you can just shoot this guy in the back. And it's basically the same thing that happened like if you're playing north spawn and you take the house. So you can see right here, simple flanking maneuver and just farm that guy in the back to put him down. Pretty textbook. Now that actually covers more or less all of like the key strategic areas. As for everything else, it's all death, and I'll just be playing this montage in the top corner to show you why. But basically you just have fun getting shot in the side by people on the high ground the entire time. Get shot by people at B. Yeah, don't go anywhere that's not an area that I've mentioned before. You tend to get shot a lot. Now we've covered the things that you should be doing on this map, but let's cover the things that you shouldn't be doing on this map because I see a lot of mistakes. One mistake that I commonly see is people playing tank destroyers, especially. They'll just sit in the spawn and then they think that they might be able to get some sort of lucky shot across the map at the guy who peeks at B. Don't do it. It's a waste of like a full minute while you wait for that guy to actually get to B. And then once he gets to B, he's going to be hull down. So you're going to be shooting at his turret, which is kind of a small target, so you can have fun with that. And then he'll just shoot you from his hull down. And on top of that, you could be helping your teammates win an actually important area of the map. You could be taking C, but you're sitting in spawn pretty much doing absolutely nothing. Don't do that. And then the other major mistake that people tend to make on this map is anytime you find yourself going A, don't do it. Because as I've already shown you, if you go A, you're just going to get farmed. Because if you go like, if you're on north spawn and you go A, you get farmed on this approach by whoever goes B. They'll spot you, and then pretty much the entirety of the south spawn team who lines up at C will just shoot across the map and just shoot you. So if you like losing half of your hit points, I recommend you don't go A from north spawn. And then if you go A from south spawn, it's a little less bad. But like after you take A, it's like, oh great, where do we go now? Because then if you try to go this way, you'll get shot like this. And if you try to go this way, you'll still get shot by the exact same angles. So A is just a massive mistake, and I see all sorts of players making it. Don't be one of those players. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Canyon. Relative to Mines and Himmelsdorf, it's definitely a lot simpler map strategically. It's one of the reasons why I don't like it as much, because it's also kind of team dependent. If the enemy goes C and your team doesn't go C, you kind of tend to lose the game. But anyway, on a side note, I suppose I should explain why I haven't posted a video in like 3 weeks or something like that. And it's because unlike other YouTubers, making videos is definitely not my job. I'm pretty busy with school normally, and also I don't believe in making replay videos, so my videos tend to take, at least for what I think is a fair amount of time, so it's usually like 4 to 8 hours depending on the length and complexity of the video. And sometimes finding that time to be able to like sit down and record and edit and whatnot video, it takes some time. But regardless of that, I will still try to pretty much make a video whenever I find the time and have the subject material available to me to make one. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day, and bye.